In this video we're going to learn how to solve quadratic equations. Now you probably need to revise solving linear equations, so a quick one just up here. Remember, a linear equation is just an x. 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. If you're asked to solve that, take 6 off both sides. So you get 2, that goes out. 2x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 2, that goes to 1, so you're left with x equals negative 3. Now you'll have to use that skill when you're solving quadratic equations as well. Now a quadratic equation is an equation in x squared, and so it often has most often has two numbers as solutions. So it has an x squared, an x, and a number. For example, you might have something like x squared plus 5x plus 9 equals 3. So you've always got an equal sign and a number. Now it may or may not be 0. But if it's not 0, they can always be written with an x squared, x and a number on the left hand side, that's the left hand side, and with a 0 on the right hand side. So if I was to solve this, I would want to make the right hand side 0, and there's a reason for that, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So I would want to take 3 off the right hand side, so I need to take 3 off the left hand side to make that 0, and I could rearrange that so that plus 6, and now it does equal 0, and that's the format they have to be in to actually solve them. Okay, now why do we have to do that? Is because we use this, what we call the null factor law, and so it needs to be written in factored form. So if I actually factored this, I'd get x plus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0. And the reason it has to be in this is because when two numbers are multiplied together and they equal 0, let's say 4 times x equals 0. Now, in this case, x must equal 0, because 4 obviously doesn't equal 0, and if the answer is 0, x must be 0. Now, if you had x times y equals 0, you could say either x is equal to 0 or y is equal to 0, or they could both be equal to 0. So this is the null factor law. When two quadratic equations multiply together to give 0, either one factor or the other is 0. And so we could say either x plus 3 is equal to 0, because that's a multiplying sign between. That's like the x and that's like the y. So either x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. And then we can go ahead and solve those. We now have two linear equations to solve. So from here, if we take 3 off that side, we need to take 3 off that side. I'll put the answer down here. So x equals negative 3, or take 2 off that side, so you have to take 2 off that side because you want that to disappear, or x is equal to negative 2. And we have our two solutions. Okay, I'll show you with an actual question here. Now they're going to be in factored form. They're already in factored form, so you don't have to factor them at the moment, but you will later on. And they're equal to 0, so you won't have to change that either. Okay, let's just practice our linear solving. So here, either x plus 4 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 is equal to 0 by the null factor law. Now you just go ahead and you solve each separate linear equation. Take 4 off that side, take 4 off the right hand side, so x equals negative 4, or x equals, you can take 3 off both sides so it disappears, x equals negative 3. Now notice that if there's no number in front of the x, the answer is just going to be the opposite sign to what's in here for your answer. Okay, let's try the next one. Either x minus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, solve them individually. Add 5 to both sides. So x equals 5, or x equals, I'm going to add 2 to both sides here, 2, and notice opposite sign. Okay, the third one. Either x plus 7 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. Solve separately. Take 7 off both sides. X is equal to negative 7. Add 4 to this one. X is equal to 4. Notice opposite signs. Minus, plus. Okay, if there is a number in front of the x, just solve the same way. Either 2x plus 6 is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, just a little longer to solve this one because we've got to do 2 steps. Take 6 off both sides. Put it in there. 2x equals negative 6, and remember you then have to divide each side by 2, and so we just get with x left on the left hand side, and x is equal to negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Now go to the other one. This is just an easy one. Add 5 to both sides, and so you get x is equal to 5. So we have our 2 solutions. Now sometimes there won't be a constant with one of the terms, and so same thing, 3x is equal to 0, or x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now it doesn't matter what number's in front of the x. If it's like this and with no constant with it, x will always equal to 0. Doesn't matter what number is in front of it. Take 6 off both sides, or x equals negative 6. Okay, have lots of practice at these.